copper brake pipes, the Kunifer or whatever you want to call these things. Whether you're into kit cars, maybe racing cars, classic cars, resto mod cars, or what have you, we tend to use these copper brake lines because you can do stuff like this. Basically you can form it by hand into the shape that you need. But, and here's the downside, if you want to make your installation look really neat and you've been messing around trying to get the thing the shape you want, and then, oh no, I don't need quite as much bend as that, and maybe this has got a bit too much, or maybe that's a bit more, have you, it's very easy to end up with a situation where your pipe looks a bit rubbish. So let me demonstrate the full rubbishness of this. So I've now, in fact this very pipe was removed from the car partly for the reason of its wiggliness. Even out of this situation, it was also a bit too short to be fair, but anyway, aesthetics are important. So brake pipe straighteners are, you can get them, and I've previously talked about this thing, which you can use. It's basically a plastic tube which you slide over the brake pipe and it tends to force it into a straight line. But of course once it's been flared you can't get it on there, let alone if it's actually fitted to the car. Clearly you can't use a thing like that once that's been done. So what do you do when you've messed around, maybe you've reused the brake pipe from some other application and you now want it to be used again, maybe with the end has been re-flared, but your brake line now looks a bit kind of, I don't know, unprofessional, not like the lovely straight ones you see on production cars. So what do? Now you could clamp it in the vise, twirl it around, squish it up, and I've done that. But it's not very convenient, especially if the thing is actually fitted in the car. So I was trying to come up with a tool to do that, and I started to think of this type of idea. A piece of angle and a piece of round tube to go so the tube fits in the angle, and use the tube to squish the small tube, the brake pipe, into shape, forcing it into a straight line. Now unfortunately it turns out that a tube like this isn't quite up to the job. In fact, if you can see, that's not quite round, and the reason is because my vice grip pliers too strong. Basically you do need to apply a lot of force. Now it turns out that what you need is a piece of solid bar like this, which I happened to have, so that's the type of thing. And using the locking pliers, which you can get a lot of force with, you can force the brake line into a straight section, and this is what I've come up with. So here we have a piece of a pair of mole grips or vice grips, whatever you want to call these things, with a piece of solid bar, which is in this case 20mm thick, and a piece of angle, which is I think 20 as well on each side, and is 3mm thick. And because of the action of the over center action, which is what causes these things to lock, you can actually get a lot of force onto the clamping force can be extremely high. So this is, and I've tried this a few times now, so this is what I've come up with. So you put your brake line in the jaws, and of course you can go at it from multiple angles. Now normally I don't actually need it to clamp, or lock rather, but the over center action of locking pliers does actually multiply the force that you're able to do with your hand. so it's worth using locking pliers rather than just normal pliers. You can keep going as long as you like until you've got the maximum amount of straightness. You can go round and round, straightening it in all different directions, and that's pretty good, I think. And while I won't claim that it's quite as good as a brand new brake pipe, I can feel it with my fingers that it's a little bit knobbly. Visually, certainly, it appears pretty good. And again, just for close-up purposes, this is what the tool can do. Not bad. Yeah, maybe not quite as good as a brand new brake pipe would be. Although, to be honest, if you were starting with a brake pipe, brand new one, which is on a coil normally, this would still be good at straightening that out. And maybe certainly as good as this thing. I suppose you could make it longer or shorter, depending on what you want to do. So there we are. That's the specially designed brake pipe straightening tool, and it's made out of a pair of locking pliers, 20mm bar, solid bar, and 20mm by 3mm angle, and it works by squishing the brake pipe into the little gap up here. If you got as far as this, thanks very much for watching, and in case you haven't already, please do consider subscribing. That would be really encouraging for me. So catch you on the next one.